Finishing up a banana. A mid-stream snack. Couple minutes late. BJ Palmer, how you doing? So today we're going to be talking about easy aquarium plants to grow. I do like to cover this topic once or twice a year. It's always a good topic. There's always new people, and it's a very common question. I think I got asked it a few times last week, so I decided to cover it this week. But for everyone rewatching, thank you for rewatching. I'm going to give it a few minutes for people to stroll on in. Bigfoot fish tanks. I like it. I like the name. I'm not here today, he says. I'm not really either. I'm going to be cutting the stream a little short today due to weather, a little flooding going on, and also apparently I've got some issues with my chimney because I have water coming in through my chimney into my house. So yeah, we're not going to go the full 2 hours, but we'll go at least an hour and see what's up. But I do got to address that sooner than later. And yes, Mitchell Broom, thank you so much, says, wow, Mike was on right at the start. Yeah, that does happen every once in a while. Regina Phalange says, I give my Crips and Val root tabs almost once a month, but they are in gravel. Root tabs are a great idea. Oh, I've got this on the old Corridoras video, I guess. Oh no, that's no bueno. Yeah, so this is like the first real bad rain. It's been torrential downpours for like 3 days in a row, and now it's like slush. So I've got like snow coming in, and it's windy, so I don't know if it's the wind carrying it in, but I've had wind and snow before, but not this much rain. So anyways, I'll figure that out later. Bob's friends with the Squatch. Yep. Amy Steiner, are you ready for Christmas? Because I am. Only, 10 more months to go? 9 more months to go? Just right around the corner. It'll be Christmas. Do you recommend seahorses for 10-gallon tanks? Jennifer, I don't recommend seahorses for any size tank. They're very, I would say, a very... very advanced animal to keep. Not something I would recommend for most people, but if you feel confident, I would probably go with like at least a 20-gallon. Water slide for Santa? Yeah. What's the plant in the background of the thumbnail? Looks like a tree. Oh man. Ordered pygmy cories from Dan. Thank you for the 10% discount. I saw that, Janice. I didn't see it was you because I don't get to see who uses my affiliate link, but I do get to see the sales, and I just assumed it was you. And thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the 10% discount. Where's Lady Rorschach? Rorschach? I don't know. I got to look at this thumbnail because honestly, I don't remember what I used as a thumbnail. Let's see. Whoa. I don't even have the stream up, so I can't even look. Bob, thanks for the live. I'm suffering through my son's soccer practice. How old is your son, though? Because that could really be suffering. What? Oh my gosh, there's so many plants in the background of this thumbnail. I don't know which one. You have to be more specific. I got Christmas last week. It's always Christmas morning when you order from Dan. Tell us about that lotus, the tiger lotus. An easy plant. But I have a list here. I'm going to go off the plant. I'm going to go off my list here. I've got about 15 examples for y'all, and then we can chime in. So the first one on my list, and then y'all can chime in. Very easy is Java moss. You may or may not know that I'm not a fan of Java moss, but it is very popular and very easy to grow. Slow growing, mind you. But if you want a moss, it's easy. Java moss is it. I mean, they're all kind of easy though, to be honest. There's not a lot of, there's some uncommon species of mosses that are a little bit more difficult, but most, you know, your Christmas moss, your willow moss, they're all pretty easy. They do like lower temperatures, so, you know, lower to mid 70s is always better for moss. But the reason I don't like Java moss is just because of the way it grows. I love it for breeding. You know, it just grows into this big hump, this big clump, not hump, which is nice. That's really good for like egg layers, egg scatterers. However, in my experience, Java moss has always been like a magnet for mulm. So it's very weird. I don't have that experience with other mosses, but Java moss, I just feel like everything sticks to it. Alex says, early birthday present for myself. Picked up a 55-gallon tank for $60, almost new. And for those who don't know, the 50% off sale is going on at Petco till April 1st. April 1st, I believe. Cape moss is easy. I mean, that's a rumor, but it's just a rumor. Next on my list is Java fern. It's really slow growing, but somewhat easy plant. And I say somewhat easy because of, kind of depends on your water. Java fern has always done better for me in hard water tanks. So anytime I do Java fern in soft water, it just doesn't grow that well, but it's always done well for me in my Lake Tanganyika tanks. So depending on your water parameters, you may or may not have good luck with Java fern. Nancy says, yep, I picked up a 40 breeder. I'm up to 5. I've gotten 5 new 20-gallon talls so far. I'm waiting for them to get more in stock, and then I'm going to buy more. Quick question here. Can I pull my spawning mop with Bosemani eggs from a tank at 80 to 82 and drop them in a 75? I would, but I would probably try to acclimate them somewhat slowly. Like, I don't know that I would just drop them right into that colder water, but probably not a big deal. But if it was me, I would just try to slowly acclimate them down over the span of, like, you know, 15, 20 minutes. Hey, I've killed Java ferns too. So have I. Like I said, anytime I put Java fern in like Seattle water, I have the worst luck. But if I've got crushed coral, you know, anything to make the water harder, Java fern has always done well for me. And one of my favorite plants actually is needle leaf Java fern. One of my all-time favorite plants. Let's see if we can pull up a picture of it. Let's see. Should probably be showing pictures of all of it, but I really, really just like the way this plant grows. This is technically Java fern trident, but this is how needle leaf will look too. Except it won't have like the one leaf splitting into 3 like a trident. It'll just have like the one leaf, but you get the idea. One of my all-time favorite plants. I've got one little section of it still growing in my fish room that I've been nursing since moving. All right, what's next on the list? I'm gonna go through these really fast so we can talk about them. Next on the list is Anubias. Does it get any easier than Anubias? I don't think so. Slow-growing plant, obviously. And if you've never used Anubias, you just attach it to rocks or driftwood. I've got a video on how to glue it down if you need to. One thing you never want to do with Anubias is bury the rhizome. So if you're new to Anubias, don't bury the rhizome. Next up, water wisteria. Water wisteria. Now, water wisteria is definitely one that you can grow in high light. It'll just grow like insanely faster. Mitchell Broom says, I've never had good luck with Java fern, but I've never thought to attribute it to water hardness. I just assumed that it was that I have such low nitrite from constant water changes. Yeah, it's definitely a plant that likes harder water. There's a few plants that really do like harder water. Like, and it's not always easy, right? Like Java or jungle val, you know, it grows in Lake Tanganyika, But if I was to take it from Lake Tanganyika and put it in Seattle water, it's going to die. But there's also, I just say jungle val. I know there's lots of different species of val. I just say jungle val to cover all of it. But there's val that grows natively. Well, I don't know if it's native, but it does grow here. So it's really all over the place. So water wisteria, it gets about 20 inches, grows super darn fast, especially if you have like an overstocked tank. This would be a good plant for you just because of how fast it'll grow and consume. Next up is water sprite, which honestly I kind of consider water sprite and water wisteria to be the same plant. It's not the same plant, but basically its care and how it grows is the same. You can float it, you can plant it. It's one of those plants that are just hard to kill. Congrats on the doorbell, Mitch. And one that I want to talk about, one that I've never kept, is Maramo moss balls. Very easy algae to grow. But I wanted to throw that on the list just because they're available now. They've been out of the hobby for a while, almost 2 years, I think, if not longer. But they're back. They're back in the hobby, so check them out. Maramo moss balls. You just set them in your tank and they grow. It's that easy. Hornwort, another fast-growing plant. I usually float it, but you can plant it. It's another one that can go either way. I mean, most plants can be floated. Like, they may not look the best. Like, if you float Rotala, it's not going to look that great, but it will still grow and live. But hornwort is one of the ones, just like water sprite and water wisteria, that you can float and it'll actually still look good. So hornwort, Amazon swords are generally really, really easy. I would just highly recommend root tabs if you don't have like a planted tank substrate. And even then, not a bad idea to do root tabs. And that's any sword plant, although Amazon sword is pretty indestructible. The Amazonicus, I believe, is the scientific name. I could be wrong. Pretty hard to kill that plant. I mean, they grow it at Petco, for crying out loud. If they can grow it, anyone can grow it. Is there an algae that's hard to grow? Yes and no. Salient Aquatics says water sprite. Another one if you haven't mentioned it yet. I have. That is right there on the list. We covered that one. I'm briefly going over these so the people that are rewatching it can get some ideas really quickly. Next up is dwarf sag, Sagittaria sublata, I believe. I don't know. I'm not very good with plant scientific names. But dwarf sag, in my experience, it can be dwarf or it can be tall depending on your lighting. So the higher light you have, the shorter it will grow. And low light conditions, dwarf sag will grow to the top of like a 20 tall just to get the light it needs. So if you have dwarf sag and you have like 15, 20 inch leaves coming out of it, it's because the light's really low. But it still grows just fine and it still looks good. It's just not something you would use in like a foreground plant. Moss balls, we got that one. We could talk about crypts, another strong root feeder. Specifically like Cryptocorn, Wendetii is one of the easiest ones. So many of them are easy though. Crypt Parva is one of my favorites. Crypt Wallisii. So many just easy to grow crypts out there. There's definitely some more rare exotic ones that I wouldn't recommend for beginners and wouldn't call easy. But Wendetii, like, get a 40 breeder and fill it with Crypt Wendetii. Give it 4 to 6 months and it's going to look sweet. Crypt Lutea would be another one that would look really awesome. Yeah, Toski says my dwarf sag is not dwarf. So, and it could be that you have a species of sag that's not dwarf, right? Because there's dwarf Sagittaria, there's regular Sagittaria. I forget what the scientific name is on that one. But there is a dwarf and a non-dwarf version. But the dwarf will also grow tall, which is why it's confusing. Now, I got Amazon Frogbit. I've got Frogbit on my list just because it is easy, but let's be honest, like all floating plants are pretty dang easy. Being that they're so close to the light. I mean, basically right under the light. And the fact that they can grab CO2 out of the atmosphere makes them really fast growing and just really easy to grow in general. But frogbit is definitely one of the ones that grows like crazy. I've got pennywort, another fast-growing, easy plant that you can plant in the substrate or float. Pennywort. I'm going to go with a couple stem plants now. Obviously, if you saw my post earlier, I made Pogostemon stellatus octopus, in my opinion, is one of the easiest stem plants out there to grow. So if you're new to stem plants, that's going to be the one you want. But there's also like Legwoodea repens is really easy. Rotala... specifically, Rotala indica is one of the most popular ones. Red root floaters. Kyle says red root floaters are not easy, though. I would disagree and say red root floaters are easy, but it's not easy to turn them red. And I think maybe that's the distinction when it comes to red root floaters. You need CO2. You don't need, but if you want them to turn really red, CO2, highlight, and iron will really get them red. But as just a green plant on the surface, it's pretty easy. So anyways, yeah, stem plants, Rotala indica, Legwoodea repens, Bacopa Monterey, Bacopa Carolina. I'm just going to say that. If you search Bacopa Carolina, it'll come up. It's like Carolinia or something like that. Those are probably going to be some of the easiest stem plants. Kyle says, Bob, you are right. Perfect. Yeah. So that's usually a distinction, right? Like, I bought red root floaters and they're green. Well, that's like any plant. Any of these stem plants I just mentioned, you can also turn orange, red, pink. Rotala indica is probably one of the easiest ones to turn colors. If you do want something other than green. But again, it does take highlight. CO2 will help with colors, and iron will always help. I think I just blew through my list. Hygrophila pintofinita, Hygrophila angustifolia is another really easy stem plant. However, it's not as forgiving as like a Pogostemon stellatus octopus. I think they're very similar on how they look and grow. Hygrophila angustifolia is thicker, so if you want thicker leaves, like they're both going to be really bushy, but Pogostemon stellatus octopus is going to have really thin leaves, whereas angustifolia will have thick leaves, more like an Italian val. So depending on what look you want, I wanted to have but that pretty much wraps up my list that I got. I wanted to put some more time into it, but with the flooding and issues I'm having, I was a little short on time. Amazon Research Center is here real quickly. There is a raffle to win a trip for 2, I believe, to the Research Center in Peru. I don't know if Zenny has a link for that. I currently do not. Let me see if I can get one real quick. I think they're $50 a ticket, somewhere around there. Where is it at? Where is your email? Here it is. Let's see. There is the link. Go get your tickets. I want to go to Peru, hopefully next year. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. Stop duckweed. Yeah, I didn't put duckweed on the list at all because duckweed is just a nuisance. Zen Ginger says, Bob, my Hygrophila pintofinita I got from you is the height of my 40-gallon now. I did not realize it got so red or so tall. Yes. Hygrophila pintofinita, in my opinion, is one of the best looking plants out there. However, it is definitely not a beginner plant in my opinion. Bob, what's a good budget CO2 setup? Honestly, like, I don't want to sound, it's going to sound, I don't care how it sounds. The Aquarium Co-op CO2 regulator is the best deal, hands down, out there. It's just the way it is. I think it's like $120 for the regulator, which is insane. Let me pull it up. It might be $129. Regulator. Yeah, it's $120, and that's a steal for the quality of this regulator. I've got 2 of them, and I couldn't be more happy with them. Plus the fact that you can add up to 4 manifolds to it, or is it 6 manifolds, is just absolutely crazy. Bentley Pascal has a good video. Let me see if I can find it. Bentley Pascal. Where is your video, buddy? There it is. Hello, welcome. This is Bentley. Hello, Bentley. After the stream, I would say check out this video. And he kind of compares it to CO2 Arts regulator, which is like double the price. And it's pretty crazy to see the differences between the two. You made that mistake? I was told, wait, I killed Hygrophenia, Pintophenia. I was told it was easy. I wept as it melted away. Yeah, it's definitely not something it does get recommended because Hygrophila generally is an easy plant to grow. Did you say it's not on the website? How can it not be on the website? It's not on our website. That's the website you sent me in the email, buddy. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to link then. I've made that mistake. Was it Bentley that told you it was easy? So here's the problem. Any take on the AR Rosenervig? Wife bought 2 yesterday from an LFS. I would say don't expect the colors that you see online unless you're doing highlight and CO2, and it might even melt away. The Rosener is a plant that I've had good luck with, and another plant that I've had terrible luck with. However, if you do like AR Mini, I would consider AR Mini to be an easy plant. However, if you don't have highlight CO2, then it's not going to be mini, right? It's going to grow, but it's still like a really bushy plant. I don't know what it is. I've just had really good luck or really bad luck with that plant. And thank you for the $5 super chat. I'd imagine in your tanks it would probably do pretty good. It wasn't Bentley. It was someone local. He gave me some, said just throw it in and let it find a good place to live. It found a good place to die. Yeah. Here's a good suggestion. Gardaki's Playground says Subswassertang. I would say this is a very easy to grow plant. However, it is a plant that is almost impossible to get rid of if you ever want to change things up. Short of breaking down the entire tank, I've never been able to get rid of Subswassertang. Same thing with like Java moss, right? There's always like one little sprig. No matter how careful you think they are, there's always like one little leaf when it comes to Subswassertang, and that's all it takes. You could like have like, and the leaves are already like, they're not even really leaves. They're just weird. It's like a cross between a leaf and a moss. But yeah, it's just, it always comes back, which is not the worst thing, but you know, if you don't want it anymore, it is kind of a bad thing. I've tried fake silk plants. I just hate the way they look after a while. Brown algae all over them. So I keep trying live plants. Some great, not so much. So I would say, and I think I talked about this a little bit a few weeks ago when it comes to plants, is you really got to treat them like fish. Do the research. Fish or plants, just like fish, have water that it likes and water that it doesn't like. So if you have hard water, you'd want to look for like hard water plants. If you have soft water, you want to look for plants that grow well in soft water. It is a thing. This is why some people have good luck with plants and say, hey, this plant was really easy to grow for me. You should try it. It's really easy. And then that person gets it, but they live 1,000 miles away. Their water is completely different and it dies. So yeah, you definitely have to research water conditions, water parameters with plants as well as fish if you want to be successful. Ramphonic says, my Pogo Stemostellatus octopus died off in my 55-2. Wait, did something else die off in there too? I've never been able to kill that plant. Never. Shout out to Aquarium Co-op, gifted 1 Steenfott Aquatics membership. Who got it? Amissa, of course. Welcome back, Amissa. And Curtis Schindler with the $1 super chat. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. I've learned my KH can also be a problem too high. Yeah. I don't know why I just brain farted there, but exactly. You got to learn. Like, there's plants that will do well with high KH. At one point, duckweed was so hard to grow, and now I can't get rid of it. You also have to balance, like, if you have a 55-gallon tank and you have like 5 fish in it, like 5 micro rasboras, then you need to be putting fertilizers in there. Like, depending on your water, if it's not nutrient rich out of the tap, if you have like Seattle water, probably not going to do well just with straight tap water. My Pogo has been eaten by my rainbows and it makes me mad. Yeah, I've had my running river rainbows that I cannot remember the scientific name of, but my running river rainbows just destroyed my plants. One of the few. My KH and GH is super low. I would recommend, let me see here. Oh my gosh. Here's what I would recommend. This, like, you know, I'm not a big fan of CChem, but this stuff for me is magical. CChem Equilibrium. Can I make this bigger? There we go. Equilibrium is a mineral supplement designed to have ideal mineral balance for the aquarium. It is best used for reverse osmosis water, like Seattle water, like I had, or any water lacking minerals. I absolutely love this stuff. I do not go without it. I put it in my planet tanks with every water change. And yeah, I've always had really good luck with this stuff. And that's coming from someone who's not a big fan of CChem fertilizers. So just saying. I gotta be honest. Equilibrium. I should have took a drink while I was on that screen, but I would, if you're having trouble with plants in soft water, I would highly recommend that stuff. Google just says Melanotania species running river. I wouldn't be surprised. They were I thought they would probably have a scientific name by now, because that was, I think I got those almost 10 years ago. Caitlin says, all the water change videos I've ever watched have said water change replenish the minerals for your plants. In my case, it does the opposite. Exactly. This is why, like, people who treat water changes, whether you're anti-water change, whether you're pro-water change, like, it's very specific to everyone's needs. And I hate when people say I'm having a problem, and like every response in Facebook is like, do a water change, do a water change. I'm like, well, that's really not going to solve all your problems. And there's certainly times when water changes are necessary and will help solve your problems. But yeah, here in Seattle, like water changes are not going to replenish your minerals at all. Any thoughts about Gambusia punctata? So I've never kept them. I'd imagine. I mean, most Gambusias are pretty freaking hardy fish. Is that just the mosquito fish? I believe. I might be wrong. But insanely hardy fish. Xanadudu says, okay, I got 2 raffle tickets. If I win, I'll donate them to a fundraiser auction for them because it's hard for me to travel. So pick me, Dr. Awesome. I once dropped a Big Mac on the ground, changed my tank water, and the Big Mac was fixed. Exactly. I like the well, my car doesn't run anymore. Well, did you change the oil? Well, no. I mean, my alternator was out. You know, it's like I can't start my car, but well, change the oil. Change 50% of your oil to fix it. It just doesn't make any sense. Not to mention, like, with all the crap that's in tap water, that could be the cause of your problem, and changing the water is just going to exacerbate your problem. Makes no sense. Aphanis is the mosquito fish. Punctata is the blue-eyed Cuban Gambusia. Okay, now I gotta search for it. Ooh. Let's see. Punctatus. Well, this is a neat little fish. Oh, wait. That's not the right one. Here we go. Punctatus. That's pretty neat. Nice little blue fins, kind of bluish sheen on the body, and some yellow pectoral fins. I don't think you could go wrong with that fish. Kyle Morrison gifted 1 membership. Who got this one? Alex Gonzalez. Welcome back. Water changes add nitrates for me, so tons of plants and small water changes is how I roll. Yeah, a lot of people don't test their tap water, which if you want to get into planted tanks, I would highly suggest testing your tap water. Life in Liquid, what's going on, says bladderwort, very easy to grow. I feel like all the warts. Is there a wart that's not easy to grow? Pennywort, bladderwort. They're almost so easy they're a nuisance in my opinion. How about an easy to grow carpeting plant like microsword? I should put microsword on the list because that's a very easy carpeting plant in my opinion. Granted, if you have low light, you don't fertilizer, and you have no CO2, it's going to take a lot longer to carpet. But give it a couple years, it will. Am I shadow banned again on YouTube? Can anyone see my messages? I don't think you can be shadow banned for messages. My wife was walking out the door with divorce papers, changed my water. Now I'm sitting like Jimmy Buffett in the CV. Yeah. Doesn't bladderwort eat tiny fry, or is it a different one that's carnivorous? I thought... now you're making me question. One of the warts... Will it eat tiny fry? Probably not. Would it eat shrimplets? Yeah, it will get shrimplets. Is there a way to increase KH but not affect GH all that much? I feel like crushed coral affects my GH way more. Try equilibrium. 100%, Caitlin. Try equilibrium. I'm telling you, I used to have your water for like 10 years, and equilibrium fixed it. Now, I still did, regular fertilizers as well, but equilibrium was a huge, huge help for me with Seattle water. Seachem Flourish or API Leaf Zone. Are those your only options? Like, I don't think either of them are that good. What about Styrogen repens? I would never put that as an easy plant, ever. I realize there's some people out there that can grow that stuff like weeds, but there's a lot more people out there that kill that plant every time they get it. I will not put Styrogen repens in my tank unless it's highlight and CO2. It's the only way I have good luck with it. The second emoji is a picture of Jimmy's nostril. Okay. So Xanadudu, you definitely don't need Styrogen or CO2 for S repens, but it helps. You can get away with just highlight and fertilizers. The only time I was successful is when I was doing dry fertilizers. So the EI dosing. The only time I got it to grow for me. And trust me, I was on the forums. I was everywhere and listening to everyone tell me how easy this plan is. But I've never had good luck with it unless I was at least highlight with some really good fertilizers. Can we go back to the photo? What photo? Brandon says Tiger Lotus is a good easy red. Yeah. Yep. Any of the lotus plants. My Tiger Lotus always survives but never thrives. What's the difference between a Tiger Lotus that's living and one that's thriving? Because to me, like, there's no in between. Like, living is thriving for me when it comes to Tiger Lotus. Equilibrium is for JH, GH. I use baking soda for KH. What's a good background? Cryptocorn, Spiralis. I would agree to disagree. I realize what you're saying, but Caitlin has the same water I do. And that's... I'm telling you. Hey, I had the same water as you forever, Caitlin, and Equilibrium was the answer. I'll even give you some for free to try if you want. That's how confident I am. I had your exact same water. Java moss or Java? I don't know. I can't pronounce those differently. Zen Ginger said, I had Styrogen repens growing great one time at a 20 tall. Highlight but no CO2 until I put little goldfish babies in the tank. They pulled it all up in 3 days. Yeah, that's one of the things I don't like. Like, S repens doesn't have the best roots. They're always very tiny and they're very easy to uproot. Like, even Corridoras could uproot Styrogen repens. What's your recommendation for liquid ferts besides Corey's? Not that I don't like Corey's. Magical Brew. Just want to know your other choices. Honestly, if I'm not using Easy Green, I'm going to use dry ferts. Other liquid ferts that I've tried, like I used to do Aqua Vitro, which is not really much different than Seachem. But it is branded to be higher quality. But honestly, yeah, to me, there's just not enough difference. Like, it's either Easy Green or dry ferts, like the EI. I would look up the EI method if you're not familiar with it. I tried Monte Carlo recently, but not much luck. Too many bottom feeders, and it's all floating on top. Yeah, Monte Carlo is a hard one to get started. You almost have to do the dry start method, which is where you plant it, and you get it to grow and spread and root before adding water. Also, one of the advantages, I mean, unless you're really set on liquid ferts, but going dry ferts, they're really cheap and they last a long time. Styrogen repens is a mixed bag for me. I like it. You know what plant doesn't get enough love is Blixa japonica. Like, hardly anyone talks about Blixa japonica, and it's not even a hard plant to grow. But it looks really, really cool. I'll pull up an image for you. Let's see. There's so many wrong images. This is the problem with the internet. You search for a plant and it shows you pictures of everything but that plant. Come on. I just want this picture to come up. Here we go. I wouldn't say this is an easy plant by any means, but if you're growing Staurogen repens, then you can grow this plant. How about we get that in the middle of the screen here? Blixa japonica. Oh, we might have some other pictures of it here. How about this one? It's just a really nice carpeting plant. It doesn't, like, you have to manually kind of help it along to carpet, but it's just a really cool plant. You basically just separate it and you get like little baby plants. It kind of spreads more like a sword plant, I would say. But a really cool plant that no one hardly ever talks about. I need to get some. Matter of fact, I'm going to buy some right now. Where can I buy some of this plant? Blixa japonica for sale. Where is a place that I trust that I can buy this plant? Ugh, I don't want to buy from them. Okay, I'm going to have to do this off the stream before I can find somewhere. Okay, I'll do that later. I'm going to have this plant by next week. Any plans on, any thoughts on Pogostemum erectus? Most Pogostemums are going to be easy. I would not put that in the difficult category at all. That is bad. Ace seems like it would be a great carpet. Yeah, you basically would want to buy a lot of it. Like I said, it doesn't spread the fastest. And if you want it to spread fast, you pretty much have to get in there and start separating them. Do botanicals produce CO2 as they break down? And if so, could you provide little amounts of CO2? I wouldn't think that they would produce CO2. I might be wrong, but I would say no. Does Aqua Imports have it? Probably, which means I'm not going to buy it. Jessica says, I'm really enjoying Bacopa caroliniana. Yes, this is one I talked about earlier that I couldn't pronounce. I just call it Carolina. It's an easy stem, but looks unique, and my shrimp love to sit on each little leaf. All Bacopas, I think, are really cool. Now, it's a really underrated stem plant, in my opinion. G. McDonald says, hi, Dabo. I'm officially your first subscriber. Every person that I've been a first subscriber to is no longer a YouTuber. It's the kiss of death, I swear. Regina Phalange says, Mitch, have Hardwater 2. Scarlet Temple has literally no chance. I am pretty anti-Scarlet Temple myself. Very rarely do I see success with that plant. Just saying. Tropica sells the Blixa japonica. Yeah, I know, but I have to buy like 100 of them. Maybe we'll put in a group buy. Let's see. But do they actually have it in stock? That's the question. Let's see. Here we go. Stock list. And it's in stock as a tissue culture, but I'd rather have it in a pot. And they don't have it in a pot. I would get more baby plants out of a tissue culture, though. It's expensive, though. Tropica is expensive. Tropica, for me... I'm not going to get into it. What's another great stem plant that provides good cover for the puffer where you can lay on or hide behind? I don't think a puffer is going to be able to lay on stem plants. But you're going to want something bushy like Pogostemum Salatus octopus or Hygrophila angustifolia. Jamie says, I may not be your first subscriber, but I am your longest member. Jamie McDonald, 52 months. That's insane. Thank you so much. Now I want to pull up the list. Now I'm curious. There's three people that have been right on your heels the whole time. Where can I see my list? Here we go. Ooh, and one of them. No, yeah, there's still three. 3 people right on your tail. Ginger says, I'm only a year behind Jamie. And thank you for the 40 months. What? I got some from Steven and it was going nuts in the CO2 tank. I took it out. It's doing really well with the goldies and even sprouting new leaves now in 2 months. Ooh, what are we talking about? Hey, Bob, how many angels in a 120 fat boy without looking too crowded? I don't know what a 120 fat boy is. Is that just the typical 4 foot, 120 gallon, 4 foot by 2 foot tank? Rocky Mile says, all my bettas love banana plants. The lily pads get so big and tall, they like to hang out under them. I almost thought like you were going to say that your bettas love bananas. You know, banana plant is a plant that I have never, ever tried to grow. Talking about bulbitis, I would say bulbitis is a pretty easy. Fat boy is 48 by 24. Why is it called fat boy? That's just like the standard size. That's weird. Xanadudu member for 26 months says, damn, I thought I was an OG at 26 months. Ooh, how many angels? I would probably start with like 8 and see how that looked. That may not seem like a lot, but for me, it's going to come to personal opinion, but I feel like angels can get crowded really fast. Like it might seem like, oh, it's a 120 gallon tank. It's 4 feet by 2 feet. Pretty good. Curtis says, I'm called fat boy. But angels, I don't know. I feel like 8 would be my number. Sean said, I'd be interested in dry ferts. I've never used them. It's really, in my opinion, like the best fertilizers you can. The reason I love dry fertilizers is because you can actually tailor it to what you need. So, well, like if your water is lacking in potassium, then you could just put more potassium in your fertilizer. You don't really put fertilizers in your tank dry. So you'll basically get like a bottle like this, and you'll mix all the dry fertilizers in there, put your water in there, shake it up. You let it sit for a day, let it dissolve, and then then you'll put it in your tank like every other day. Or I mean, depending on what you want, like how people do EI dosing, is they basically, like Monday they'll do the macros, and then Tuesday they'll do the micros, and then Wednesday they'll do the macros, and they alternate it, and then Sunday you do like a 50% water change. So it's definitely a lot more work, but you could also just make it so that you're only dosing it once a week, you know, depending on how fast your plants grow. If you're running CO2, do you have highlight? Like all this makes a difference. The people that are doing this daily and then doing big water changes, those are the people that have like highlight CO2. And the idea is to basically flood your tanks with fertilizer and then get rid of it with the big water change. And I did that for years. There was really no ill effect on my fish. Like I've had multiple fish breed while doing that. So, what's the difficulty with banana plants? So if you're referencing me never keeping a banana plant, I don't like them. Honestly, I don't like the way they look. I don't like the little banana cluster in the bottom of my tank. That's it. That's the only reason I've never kept them. That sounds like a lot of work. How do you figure out what you're missing? Is there a test for that, or just based off the plants? Yeah, so there's definitely tests. So you could test potassium. You can buy individual test kits for like every mineral. Or you could just go off like the mineral deficiency charts. it's something that you'll learn like over time. Like if you get really hardcore into planted tanks like I was, eventually you'll just get to know, like you'll learn. Mr. B CPD says I sooner just use Easy Green. But remember now, so yes, if you're doing like easy low light, medium light plants, Easy Green is going to be by far the way to go. But if we're doing high tech CO2, then we're going to need something a little bit more. So I still use Easy Green. Like I have a 20 long right now, that's high tech, has CO2, has the co-op light on it. Being a 20 long, it's very shallow, so the par is super high. And I dose Easy Green every single day because that's just how fast the plants grow. So you really have to cater your fertilizer to your specific aquarium. So like Easy Green is meant like one pump for 10 gallons once a week, right? But in this situation, I need a lot more. So for that tank, dry fertilizers would be the way to go, but I'm not going to buy a bulk of all these dry fertilizers for one 20-gallon tank. If it was like me 5 years ago, where all my tanks were like high-tech tanks, then buying bulk dry fertilizers was by far the best way to go. Jamie McDonald with the $5 super chat says, here's to all the long members. Thank you so much. Jamie McDonald, the director of the channel. Nancy B in Tennessee, following up with a $5, says, here's to all the members under a year. They're battling now. Kevin says, Silvertip Tetra is okay for angel tank mates as long as you get them large enough. Looking to try a different Tetra than Cardinals or Rummies. Yeah, I would absolutely go with Silvertip Tetras. But if you have full-grown angelfish and you have really small Silvertip Tetras, that's going to be a problem. So as long as you're buying like adult Silvertip Tetras, you're more than fine. Eric Wyrock, what's going on, buddy? With the $5 super chat says, we love Bob. Aww. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. E-Rock. That's so much easier to say than Eric Wyrock. E-Rock. All right. Thanks, old Zenny. Now I can just say E-Rock. I didn't know that was your nickname. Liquid Zoo OnlyFans says, I'm here for Zen. We know. Where's the fish hat? What? You beat him with a penny. That is true. $4.99 or $5. Oh, you know what? Now that I have an iPhone, all mine are going to be $0.99. Ugh. Plants looking good behind you. Well, I'm glad you think so because they desperately need water. I was looking at it before I went live. I was like, oh, man, I need to water these. Ginger Grubble with a $5 super chat with a smiley face. Ginger, I think I missed one of your super chats earlier now that I see your name. If I did, I apologize. If I didn't, I take it back. Cal says, Bob's all right. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, snap. UPS 34 months. Thank you so much. My GH is 13, but my KH is 4. What can I use to help my KH? GH is 9 out of the tap. Bob's Red Mills baking soda. Funny, I got rid of all my guppies and platies. Too many fry. Now I have trout goodeids and Limia Paraguay. And once again, overrun with babies. Well, you can't replace live bearers with live bearers and then expect something different. I will say that is a very good upgrade though. I would much rather be overrun in those fish than guppies and platies. Just saying. Caitlin, member for 9 months. You don't lose your months if you lapse, I guess. Nope. You always it's total accrued whether you're a member or not. That had text in it. I said, let's compare subscription dates. I joined December 22nd, 2007. Steenfott Aquatics, you missed subscription, but you weren't subscribed in 2007. That's when you joined YouTube. And also, remember, hit the like. Let's hit the like. Connor says, my problem isn't overstocking, it's understocking according to my plants, so Easy Green is my best friend. One thing I do as well is my tanks that are heavily planted, I overfeed. Just for some additional nutrients. The plants will consume your food as it breaks down. Who is on your heels? Daryl Deemer is on your heels. Mandolin is on your heels, which I hardly ever see in the live streams. But Mandolin, FYSU, and Mile High Plecos, all on your heels. If you let it lapse just a couple days, you will no longer be the longest member. E-Rock again says, please hit the like button. I appreciate it. Now I'm just kind of curious how many do we got here? $242 viewers with 97 likes. We can get 3 more. We can get 3 more likes, right? Subscription and membership is different. How do you even know when you subscribed? There's no date that says when you subscribed. That's a great way to get a lot of mulm too. LOL, overfeeding. I would only recommend overfeeding if you're very familiar with your tank, with your plants, and your fish. Not something I would recommend for beginners. It also depends on what you're overfeeding. Like, if you're overfeeding like Wardley's fish food, you're basically just asking for trouble. But if you overfeed like food that's that has like a really high mineral content, like a good quality food, then yeah, your plants will also benefit from that. I'll never let it lapse. The best money I spend every month. I appreciate it. I don't believe you, but I appreciate it. I was a late comer. I didn't get on YouTube till like 2016 and didn't find Fishy Folks until 2018. Then didn't make my current channel, so I feel comfortable talking to people. You go onto the page you have subscribed, click on About, and it tells you when you subscribed. No, that tells you when you started your channel, when you started your account. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll check right now. Let's see which one can I pull up here? Well, let's pull up Aquarium Co-op. Go on About. This is when that channel joined. That's not when you subscribed. That's when the channel joined. So if I go on to Aquarium Co-op and you go to About, it says joined January 14, 2013. That's when Aquarium Co-op joined YouTube. That's when that channel was made. Let's go to this one. Yep. So, yeah, and I made my channel in 2007. That would be cool. I would love that stat to be somewhere. But yeah, that's when that channel joined. Go to yours. Okay. Go to channel. Go to About. You joined October 5th, 2011. So you could not be subscribed to me in 2007 because you did not join YouTube till 2011. I definitely was not subscribed to you in 2011. That's a fact, Jack. You're older than Corey then? Yes, in every way. My YouTube channel is older. Technically, I uploaded my first video before 2007. Like I have a legacy account, so. But that's when that's not my join date, but that's just what the date YouTube gave me. The co-op is 10 years old? I guess it is. Is the co-op still here? The co-op is still here. Buddy, it's your 10-year anniversary. Are we having a party? I did not know you in 2007. That should have been the first clue. Well, you know, like nobody knew me in 2007. So yeah, that should have been a clue. The fact that my first fish video, when is my first video uploaded? I think we looked at this before. It's like 2014, I think. Actually, I think my first video was uploaded in 2007. That's probably right. Date. Here we go. My first video that I didn't delete was October 26th, 2013. I did make this video public for a little while. It's got 112 views, but it is no longer public. And then the next video is almost a year later at September 25th, 2014 is when I started uploading fish stuff. When did you post your first fish video? That is about when I subscribed. 2014. Wait, Bob has fish? He may be cooler than I thought. I'm cool as ice, baby. 9 more days till I have 6 months. Nice. You'll no longer be the gecko. Random notice, but Corey's frogs that have eggs hatch out of their back look almost exactly like African dwarf frogs. I just can't say that is what they are, but haven't hatched them yet. Corey definitely did not have African dwarf frogs. I remember the first time someone told me about this thing called YouTube. Amazing how things change and grow. What was my first video? Was uploaded in 2007. It's why I created the account. It's why my name, technically, my YouTube name is not Steenfott Aquatics. If we go to my actual YouTube name, it is Vic Makarov. And I uploaded a gaming video in 2007, and that was my name in the game. Was Vic Mackey from The Shield. And I was in a guild called Ring of Valor. So Vic Mackey, R-O-V, Vic Makarov. And it was a kill of Ragnaros. So if that tells you, I'm sure some people will know what that is. How do you rate Easy Green? It's asking if I like a product yet. The only difference I'm seeing is less death to plants and that they are getting green, but is that the iron from the... How do you rate Easy Green? It's asking if I like product, yet the only difference I'm seeing... Well, if the only difference you're seeing is your plants aren't dying, I feel like that's probably a good thing. Right? Like, I don't know. So if we go to, there's been a lot of debate on Corey's frogs. He did not get the frogs he bought, but they are not African dwarf frogs. Let's see. Now I am a master certified herpetologist, so I do have some knowledge on this. Where's the video? Here it is. You still do intros? Okay, where are we at here? The person might have deleted their comment because I owned them. I owned them so hard. Looks like they deleted their comment. Somewhere on here, I had the exact species. But it looks like that person deleted their comment because I proved them wrong. That's unfortunate. They're not Pipa Pipa, they're Pipa Parva. So if you Google Pipa Parva, there's Pipa Pipa and there's Pipa Parva. He had the Parva, but he was sold Pipa Pipa. Now I will say the Parvas do look like dwarf African frogs. However, they're way larger. They're not dwarf frogs at all. Savannah Suriname. Pipa pipa is a common one. Pipa parva is what he had. All right. How do you net trimmings from your tanks without getting fish in the net? Very carefully. I don't know. I usually just either pick out the fish or pick out the stems. How does one become a master herbivore? Well, first of all, you'll die of malnutrition if you're a master herbivore. Oh, I'm just kidding. You herbivores, calm down. You got to take a class to be a master herpetologist. Herpetologist, study of reptile and amphibians. Lots of, well, I wouldn't say there's lots of places, but there are some places. There are very few schools that offer that. I see people just freely swinging their net around and no fish get into it. Maybe my fish are dumb. Possibly, but usually when you start scooping around with your net, like it scares your fish and they run and hide. So maybe you're being too careful and too slow. You need to get in there and like just start thrashing around and scare your fish so they run and hide. I'm kidding. Don't do that. UPS Living the Dream says mine only always float to the top. Yeah, I mean, you basically just let them float to the top and then you just skim the surface with the net. I found Corey doing some rock collecting before the co-op had a channel. Rock collecting? Oh, here we go. Mac Pacific Northwest says, Bob joined the Big Dog Club, brought home a St. Bernard Golden Retriever pup. I bet that is an awesome dog. 14 weeks and already a monster. Also, first successful spawn of rainbow shiners. Congrats on both accounts. A St. Bernard Golden Retriever. Now I got to look this up. That sounds like an amazing dog. I've always wanted a St. Bernard, but I don't want the drool, so I've never gotten one. Yep, that is a really cool looking dog. Wow, I'm jealous. A golden saint, they say. A golden saint. What a cool cross. Is it better to buy a tank or make a homemade tank? By the way, thank you for answering my questions. I would say it's always going to be better to buy a tank. It may be cheaper to build, but time is money. Time is money, friend. Man, now I want a golden saint. One of my easiest fish to catch is our Synodontis petricola. Just put the net in and they swim right in. I would say the easiest fish to catch are the ones you're not trying to catch. Those are always the ones that swim in the net, are the ones you're not trying to catch. At least in my experience. Bob, my service dog is a golden shepherd. Ooh, I bet that's a good one too. Golden shepherd. Yep. That's a pretty cool dog too. I just want all of them. Go to your My Google activity. Welcome to my activity. To click on other activity on the left. Find the YouTube channel subscription. Click manage activity. That sounds like way too much work. I don't even like. Jeez. Caitlin says, I'm fairly handy, but I would never trust a tank I built myself. I mean, why not, though? It's just silicone and glass. You know, I would trust a tank I made out of glass more than I would trust a plywood tank. And I know I can build a plywood tank that would never leak. Like, it's so easy. It really just depends on the size, though. Like, would you really be scared if you, like, built your own little 10-gallon tank? I mean, silicone is so strong. It's ridiculously strong. I would be not scared at all. But if I was to build like a 300-gallon glass tank, then I'm probably not doing that. I'm probably gonna go like plywood at that point. What's another rare stem plant that you like? There's a lot of rare. I really love rotalas. There's a lot of rare rotalas out there. I don't know that they're rare, but it's definitely not something you're gonna pick up at like an LFS, or a chain store. There's lots of species of rotala out there. They get really red, really pink. Pogostemum helferi. What's the there's one that's also a carnivore plant. That's a carpeting plant. I can't remember what it is. Gosh, what's the name of that one? Graminifolia or something like that? I can't remember offhand. But there's one carpeting plant that's a carnivore plant that looks really cool, but it's very hard to grow. I can't remember the name of it. That doesn't help you at all, but that's the one. I'll probably remember it at like 3 in the morning or something stupid. I've got some Rotala rotundifolia that grows like a weed. It gets pretty rosy pink when it reaches the top and gets more light. Yeah, Rotala rotundifolia is probably the second most common Rotala in my opinion, behind Rotala indica. Want to make that 60 breeder into a CO2 tank. Any advice? My advice for CO2 is to start off slow. Yes, that's it, Zen Ginger. Thank you. I would run your CO2 only for a couple hours a day, and I would gradually build it up until you get more confident in your CO2 skills. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Graminifolia. It is UG's. Naomi, you're right. Let's see if I can find a good picture of this plant. Let's see. There we go. Let's there we go. Is this gonna show it? Kind of hard to see in this picture. Any other pictures of it? Here's a better picture. Really cool carpeting plant. See, here we go. Here's a website that doesn't know anything. This is the problem with the internet. It's easy to care for, which makes it a popular choice for aquariums. It is not a popular choice because it is not very commonly sold ever. And it is not easy to care for. So this picture obviously is just a stock photo of someone's tank. You can see there's Pogostemum in there, which is another not easy to care for plant. So these are just these cookie cutter websites. But it looks good. Like it used to be really popular like back in, I would say like 2000, I don't know, 15 on the Planet Tank forum. But I would never classify that as an easy popular aquarium plant. Not even close. There's a problem with the internet. Maybe in Tennessee. Leo, do it. I'm doing it to my 55 gallon. I'm super nervous though. Don't be super nervous. Watch Girl Talks Fish has a video on setting up CO2. Watch it. Let's see if I can find it. I'll link it. It's very simple. There's really nothing to worry about. Yeah, this is a really good video. This is not a public video, so you may not have seen this. That's Irene. She goes over how to set up, and this is basically works with any regulator. This is specific one is the co-op regulator, obviously, because she works for the co-op. But watch that video on how to set it up. It's really good, and it's really easy. Like I would just start off like maybe 3 hours a day, let it go, maybe then up it to 5 hours a day. I watched a YouTube person say it's okay to feed your fish and never do water change. Is that true? Father Fish, is he wrong? There's many different ways to be successful in the hobby. There's people that say you need to do a 90% water change every week, and there's people that say you never need to do a water change. It's very specific. Everyone's different. Everyone's water is different. Everyone's setup is different. Like, show me like a 55-gallon tank that's hundreds of guppies, like my breeding for profit tank, right? 55-gallon. You know, there was hundreds of guppies, thousands of shrimps, and hundreds of bushy-nosed pleco. I was breeding all 3 of them in there. There's no way I could not do a water change in that tank. So there's many different scenarios for many different styles of fish keeping, of fish, plants. So the key is just finding what works for you. She was responding to you, Bob. That's the problem with the internet. Oh, why did I read it as a question then? It's my first day. Cut me some slack. I was running a Fluval 3.0 Plus, a Niker Planted Plus. Wait. I was running a Fluval 3.0 Plus, a Niker Planted Plus Preciously? All right. Switch to the co-op light, and it's lovely. I don't know why that was so hard. That's what she said. Do you have a store? I do not have a store. My dream is to own a retail store and never open it to the public. If I ever win the lottery, I'm going to open my own fish store and never open it to the public. I still have to find a filled CO2 tank. That's going to be pretty hard. They sell empty tanks on Amazon, but nothing is pre-filled. Yeah, because it's illegal to ship pre-filled tanks. You have to buy an empty tank and then take it to a store, and they'll either fill it or they'll swap it with a full one. But you're never going to be able to find a full CO2 tank online. Curtis found it. Says, I subscribed to Bob's channel March 15th, 2019. Almost 5 years to the day. Almost. Hey, Jess, how you doing? Says, Bob. How are you? Chat, how are y'all? A fish store speakeasy. I don't know what I'd do, but I would do something. Like, I would own a fish store, and I don't know. I don't know that I'd own a fish store. It'd be more like a fish hangout, I guess. Like, I'd invite y'all to come hang out in my fish store. There'd be a ping pong table, a pool table so we can break some tanks, maybe. A few errant shots. I don't know. Like, I think it'd be really fun to hang out with y'all in person, but I don't want y'all at my house, no offense. So I would need like a store or somewhere. Susan for SLC Aquatics. Susan for South Lake City Aquatics, member for 28 months. Thank you so much, Susan. Greetings to a special friends. Right back at you. One of my few Twitter followers, Susan. Thank you so much. You're one of 30. What's the easiest carpeting plant? That's pretty subjective, but probably like a true carpeting plant, probably dwarf chainsword or micro sword are really easy. UPSer, I use SodaStream CO2 tanks. You can also go to like Sports Authority. Is that a store anymore? I don't know. But anywhere that does paintball, you can usually find CO2 tanks, although they're generally a bit smaller. So I would, if you're going like full on regulator, I wouldn't get anything smaller than a 5-pound tank. But honestly, if you have a smaller tank, you can get away with the paintball CO2. That's my goal. Open a store here in Cali and have the same type of customer service like the co-op. We need more stores. That QT fish. Yeah. Mine would just be a hangout. Susan says, just hit my number 7 Corridora species. Are you going to tell us what it is? JT says, I can never find Blixa japonica in stock. Any experience with it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it. I usually have to get it from other hobbyists. So, like in Facebook, if you're in any if you're in any plant groups on Facebook, it'll come up then. Let's just see. One second. Wondering if I have a video on Blixa. I don't think so. Nothing with the title, anyways. We'd probably have to go back circa 2015 to find Blixa on my channel. Yeah, here it is right here. View on YouTube. Okay. Control copy. Paste it on over here. Probably going to be an ad that plays. Nope, no ad. So here we go. Switch you on over to Firefox, and here you can see my. Oops, no, you can't. Well, you can kind of see Blixa there. Can we get this to fit perfectly? Pretty close. So the plant right there, front right, is Blixa japonica. These are Nanochromis splendens, one of the best dwarf cichlids in the world. Oh, there's the ad. I knew it had to be coming. That's Steenfott Aquatics. What a greedy bum putting ads in his videos. A bum, I tell you. But there's Blixa japonica all over the place on this tank, if I was to ever zoom out. Unfortunately, this video is about Nanochromis splendens, not Blixa japonica. I miss these fish so much. Zoom out, you noob. Oh, get it in focus, you idiot. God, what a terrible YouTuber. All right. The longer I watch this, the more I'm missing this fish. Oh, what do we got going on over here? Oh, another female. Hiding under Blixa japonica. Oh, no, wait. That's dwarf chainsword. So we got some hair grass on the right there. Some Cladophora algae on the rocks right there. That was a big mistake. That ruined that tank, was me letting that Cladophora algae grow on that rock. Such a pretty tank. God, get those pop-ups off the screen. What the heck? What in the heck, dude? What fish is that? Nanochromis splendens. I asked Dan to get these in, and he ordered some, but they didn't come in. Nanochromis splendens. Boom. There you go. I reported you for hate speech. I'm very hateful. Oh, Susan got Corridoras pygmaeus. Nice. Very nice. Sean says, I'm planning on going to a fish club an hour from me this spring. Sounds like your store idea, Bob. A hangout. I'm doing that this spring too. I'm going to travel an hour to go to the Seattle club for George Hans Evers. George Evers Hans. George Hans Evers. Why are they ending credit links in a live stream? What? Yeah, you guys have Nanochromis puralis. I've kept that one. I've kept the Nanochromis transvestites. That's another pretty one. Nanochromis. Let's see. This one's really pretty. I'll go back to here. Wait a minute. Why isn't it showing? There it is. Nanochromis. What does that say? Transvestitus. Very cool. Hard one to get. But look at this fish. I mean, how cool is this fish? How could you not like this fish? Nanochromis transvestitus. Let's look at puralis. I've had 4 species of Nanochromis in my career. These ones aren't going to be as colorful, but still a beautiful fish. Like I said, some of my favorite dwarf species. Another one of my favorites is Teleogramma. I think I asked Dan if he could order these too. Teleogramma burchardi. I love these guys. Really, really cool fish. Highly, highly, highly recommend these if you ever find them. The internet and some people will tell you that they're very insanely aggressive. That's not the case in my scenario. When I kept them in a 29 long with shrimp and ember tetras, pseudomagills, and neon green rasboras, and none of it was a problem. I'm sure they picked off shrimp every once in a while, but for the most part, they left all the fish alone, and they just kind of did their own thing. I had a pair of them. But some of my favorite dwarf cichlids: Nanochromis, Apistos, and Teleogramma burchardi. Highly recommend. All right, and with that, I'm going to cut this stream short because I have to go deal with flooding and water leaking through my chimney. I'm sure I've got a nice puddle going now. We made it an hour and a half, though, so I appreciate everyone coming out, hanging out. Hope you learned something. I learned a few things, which is always fun. I will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you all so much. I appreciate all of you. I hate to leave early, but I got to do it. I gotta do it. Any last words? How about a sign off? Is Bare Bottom Aquarium still here? I'll do his sign off. Are you still here? Are you still here, Bob Vance? Well, either way, keep your... Uh-oh, I'm getting feedback somewhere. Anyways, keep your sleeves dry and your dreams wet, and I'll see you all next week.